Hello, welcome to Vibes of India. Today we are privileged to be with Mr. Jainarayan Vyas. He was one of the most senior bureaucrats, and more importantly than that, the most intelligent face of the BJP, much before the BJP got into power in 1995. However, after 32 years of illustrious performance in the BJP, he was compelled to quit the BJP. So today, Nandini Oza and I are here to discuss with Jai Narayan Bhai the circumstances and even probe into some of the excellent work he did as minister overlooking the great Narmada, the Sardar Sarovar project that is fondly called the Narmada project, and as a health minister, family welfare minister, his contribution has been immense. Now Jainarayan Bhai is a senior leader with Congress, and thank you Jainarayan Bhai for sparing time to converse with us. First question that I would like to ask is, after 32 years of association, what made you quit the BJP?
See, in the introduction, you used the word compelled. Nobody compelled me. It was a pure voluntary decision. My letter of resignation also says that I have no grievances. I am leaving, wishing you well. That's all. But the BJP which I had known, the BJP which attracted me to be a politician, leaving my career almost at the time when it was shining like full glory, I left the job and joined BJP. First 10 years, there were few incidences that one can always account for. Friction is part of the life and we are accustomed to that. So that was okay. But then the way BJP started changing, the cadre, the people who came, who were attracted, they're coming to BJP for doing some liaison work. Cadre was getting spoiled. Corruption was increasing day by day. The party was becoming a centric decision-making organization. Somehow it was not very suitable, and yet I pulled on. I served with Mr. Narendra Modi for 5 years term as a health minister. And I am happy that people would remember me, because before that, almost every year, huge number of students were going for medical studies to Maharashtra and Karnataka. Today, no Gujarat boy or girl has to. I decided to add 10 colleges, new medical colleges. I am happy to say that ultimately it has proliferated to more than 20. So enough capacity, dental enough capacity, nursing enough capacity, physiotherapy enough capacity. So I think medical education, it was a total turnaround that my team, I won't say it was because of me, my team was able to bring around. And each one of them have handsomely done, be it my principal secretary, be it my health commissioner, be it my chief engineer in charge of the constructions, or be it the cadre down below. It was a very, very well-knit team and teamwork that has brought this result, and we were proud of being together. After that, I lost the election. The currents were changing, and I realized that now things are going to be such that will make difficult for a person like me to continue. Still, I thought that now that Mr. Modi is going to the center, maybe the new chief minister, whoever he comes, things may be different. At least the party will be more democratic. But then we had successive party presidents. With all due regards to them, one would not compare them with people like Makarand Bhai or Kashiram Rana, Dr. A.K. Patel, Keshu Bhai. A person who will sort of demand and command respect. He will not be a person where you will find him far more wanting and then he will dictate you. There were and there are presidents who believe that they are the greats. They are the greats, which they are not. And worst is BJP started fighting amongst themselves. The organization, that is Sangathan, always wanted to rule over the elected wing. And they ended up doing so up to municipalities. Nothing would happen unless you have the clearance from the Sankalan Samiti or what kind of. They had various kind of samitis. So samitis were galore. That was the time when the corruption also started springing up. And I thought that still with patience I'll continue to work. I defended Mr. Amit Shah and Narendra Modi during their worst days. Almost more than 10,000 debates in the National Assembly. And not a single one I had let them down. Not a single one. Ultimately, I thought that maybe I am an old-timer. The age is also against me. There's 75-year age limit about which now people are worrying about Narendra Modi was, I was also approaching. He is 3 years younger to me. So, that 75 years age limit, if Anandiben had to quit, and I had no kind of a hobby to seek favors. So if it was a rule that 75 years you should quit, that's all. And otherwise also if you are not fit to work, you should not continue to occupy the position. I decided to quit one day. But quit with lot of goodwill.
Yes, you have always been very graceful in your public life. But when you were quitting the BJP after 32 years, did anyone from the BJP try to stop you from not quitting the party?
No.
Because you could also have been a member of the Margdarshan Mandal or like Anandiben was.
Not I was prepared to.
But be made a governor?
That was the ifs and buts I don't answer. But when I submitted my resignation, it was announced, in next 10 minutes it was announced in the press. Okay. So as if they were waiting for me to quit. So I was happy, they were happy. This was a win-win situation in fact. Mm-hmm. So what could have been better than this?
You have contributed immensely to the development of Gujarat, to the image of Gujarat with your insightful writing, your incisive debates. What is your take on Gujarat being vibrant today, or this impression of Gujarat being vibrant and the development in Gujarat?
See, Gujarat was vibrant when Ranchhawala Retiawala set up the first mill.
That was in 1800 something?
Almost 1858. It could have been the first mill in India, but then his ship which was carrying part of the machinery were burnt. It met with an accident. So it took the first mill to come up came in Bombay. Then this. So during those days also by the standards of time, Gujarat was vibrant. First mill came, second mill came, third mill came. Madhubhai mill was second. Then Chinubhai Baronet set up the third mill. All same ancestry of Ranchhawala Retiawala. Okay. Then Bechadas Lashkari and Kasturbai clan came. The Ahmedabad grew as a textile city. But Gujarat never stopped growing. Gujarat was growing. At that time also Surat was known for its cherry and king khab.
In fact, that's why the Britishers,
Yes.
Gujarat was so progressive
Koti-
that the
the-
Britishers anchored in
The
Gujarat, in Surat.
first Koti was at Surat. And Surat was the place which kept us under as slaves for a long time because Britishers had gone broke. East India Company had gone broke. It was Atmaram Bukhand and Company which during those days gave
Bailed
them,
out and
bailed
gave
them
them
out with 1 lakh rupees. And that's how they survived.
So you think Gujarat was always vibrant?
Gujarat was always vibrant.
But so then what do you think about this?
Gujarat was so vibrant that Aurangzeb, when he was Subha of Gujarat, 4 people were converted. 1 committed suicide. And then 2 Mahajans in Surat. Surat was doing a roaring business. It was the Venice of India. 2 Mahajans. One Parekh and the other, I'm just forgetting the name, but one of them, this Parekh brought printing to India. It was the first Heidelberg machine Parekh imported into India. And the other chap introduced tea and coffee. One was Jain, one was Vaishnav. They gave a Bandh call. And Surat port remained closed for 4 months. Somebody advised Aurangzeb that a state, Virji Vora and Bhimji Parekh. Virji Vora was Vaishnav, Bhimji Parekh was Jain. Either way. But Virji Vora introduced tea and coffee to India, and Bhimji Parekh introduced printing. So he realized, and he issued then the orders that Farman, that nobody will be converted. Then the strike was lifted.
So you think this, is it just that we are marketing the current status of vibrant Gujarat? What is your take on this present vibrant Gujarat?
That is nothing wrong if you are marketing it for the sake of further development of the state. Yes, but are you in the right direction? Are those foreigners who are coming here, are they going to invest? The presidents of different countries and prime ministers, are they going to invest here? Is Gujarat the independent state that you have the foreign policy of your own? No. So what are you doing? This was, according to me, a marketing exercise for Mr. Modi.
Why?
Because he was nursing the ambition to be on the central stage one day, and this is what he was preparing for, perhaps.
During your numerous interactions with Prime Minister Modi, who
Yes.
would have then been
No, I
the
know
chief
him much
minister.
before that. I know him when he was nothing, nobody.
okay
So,
from his RSS days.
Narendra Bhai is not new to me. Narendra Bhai is known to me from many long years. So, what you want to ask about?
Yeah. So what do you think are the most positive qualities of Mr.
Positive
Modi?
qualities is the focused attention for his self-interest. He is one person who knows where his interest lies. Second, hook or crook, bow or kick, go where you want to go. So no mind making strange beautiful fellows. But your goal should be served.
So you know Mr. Modi roughly since how many years?
Almost emergency time, which is spent in Sikkur,
That is since the 70s.
almost.
Okay. And what would you consider few negative traits of Prime Minister Modi?
Self-centered personality, elephant-sized ego, non-forgiving nature, and perpetuating the power. पावर किसी का हुआ नहीं, ये दिन भी बीत जाएगी. And monopolizing it under one hand.
Because I'm sure Nandini and I, when we started our career, we had never heard of a BJP high command when Advani or Vajpayee were there. This high command culture that got into the BJP.
No, it was there.
Okay.
High command was there, and high command was real high command.
Okay.
When there was a team, एक AP Sharma, Joshi ji, Atal ji, Advani ji, some other senior leaders put together. They were the people. Even here, Keshu Bhai, Kashiram Rana, Makarand Desai, Chiman Shukla, they were our parliamentary board or high command.
Okay.
So nothing wrong. You should have that. But high command is to give you ear first and then the diktat. Not that you give the diktat and lending the ear is none of our business. That is not wrong.
So like when did you formally join the BJP? Which year?
1990. In 1990.
So you are among the few Gujaratis who graduated from IIT way back in 1971. You had a very good career as a bureaucrat. You left it all for BJP and
Not for BJP, but for doing something for my native place. I said I earned enough. And I can earn my living, honestly, without any job. So when I left my job and joined BJP and I was declared candidate, there was resistance from Sirpur. So again I was called before the parliamentary board and Chiman Shukla asked me that, have you resigned? I said, no, I left the job. तो क्या करोगे हम अगर बदल देंगे कैंडिडेट? तो आपकी दया पे नहीं रिजाइन किया, मुझे क्या करना है वो जो भी करना है आप वो जरा भी मेरे लिए दया माया से प्रेरित होके टिकट किसी और को देना है तो दे दीजिए.
And then what did make you join the Congress recently?
That was only a national party. Where was the alternative? I wanted to be in public life, still wanted to have some, suppose I want to write something to Rashtrapati. If we write it on a national party's letterhead, it does make a difference.
So now that you have an experience of both the BJP and the Congress, what is the difference in the BJP culture and the Congress culture that you can tell us about?
BJP is too aggressive and driven by an individual. Any organization which is driven by an individual or rather centric power, initially it is always effective. Always effective because decision making is fast. The person is your face, so he replies, you don't reply. Congress is too shy to know themselves. I mean, I should not have been saying this. But, and second thing, they still have rings within rings. Like, you see Saturn, Saturn has rings. Congress has rings. I do not know who is the real decision maker. 1 year down the road. But it is not my concern. That doesn't mean that I am not happy. I don't need them. Why should I worry about it? I am happy seeing Rahul Gandhi, I am happy seeing Priyanka Gandhi, I am happy seeing Kharge ji, I am happy seeing some of the brilliant Congress young leaders coming in. They are tomorrow of good, Congress. It's okay. And another thing, what have I to take from Congress?
But like as a politician, what do you see with your vast experience, the future or the recent future of Gujarat Congress and its current leadership?
Current leadership, our president is a nice person. He has seen Vidhan Sabha, he has seen Lok Sabha, he has seen Raj Sabha. He is himself not a person who needs many things to live. So, no much need for huge corruption. A nice fellow. That is Gujarat Congress. But as I told, to be a gentleman is a disqualification for an administrator. And he is a gentleman.
And the future of Congress?
Right. People are fed up. They will give a chance to Congress. That if the Congress again fail, that will be their last undoing.
So, Jainarayan bhai, do you think the Congress will be able to open its account in this Lok Sabha election?
As I told you, 4 M's. If one of the M is silent, it will, and that last M, machine, if that doesn't intervene, I am sure minimum 4 to 5 and maximum 8 seats Congress will gain. But then I have doubt about their intention. That is BJP's.
The EVM.
Yes. The EVM and the election commission, which is the useless election commission I have seen in many years. So look at Sheshan and even others who followed him, including James Michael Lingro. And look at the present trio. They don't look like serious people. A person joins in the morning and by evening the dates are announced. What does he know about which is the constituency, what are the problems, what kind of forces will have to be deployed. So they are there नाम के वास्ते. जैसे हम गणेश बिठाते हैं, तो गणेश बिठाए हैं, but devilish Ganesh. Election Commission has outlived its utility if it is to function like this. It is shame to say that it is one of our constitutional institutions.
Vyas, switching gears, what do you think is the reason that the Narmada project is yet not complete?
Till the water reaches the farmer, last farmer who is eligible, it is not complete. Narmada is complete as far as 1450 megawatts of power is concerned. It is complete as far as drinking water to the villages in urban habitats is concerned. It is complete as far as main canal and some of the gigantic structures which World Bank believed that we will not be able to build. Like we have built the largest siphon in the world. We have constructed the largest aqueduct over Mahi, largest siphon or below Sabarmati. Our main canal is a pride construction which World Bank did not believe the Indian engineers are capable of doing. And it doesn't even today have a single crack, wherein the recently constructed canals having 8 to 10,000 cusecs of flow have breached 123 plus times.
So who is to be blamed that the branch canals are also incomplete?
Obviously the department and the governments.
Well said. Narmada project is one thing, and then the dam is at a sensitive location.
Yes.
And now you have Statue of Unity and so much of development over there. How far it is environmentally bad, and hundreds of villagers have lost
I am
their
not
homes.
specialist in environment, so I'll not talk. And who better could have been there overlooking such project by our Iron Man Sardar Patel? Who better than him you could have thought of?
So is it justifiable the way development has taken place over there?
It is for the history. It is history which has the job of justifying or otherwise. Nothing should be judged within the lifetime of its creators.
Thank you very much for this insightful conversation.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you for sparing this. Thank you for watching Vibes of India.